The research vessel Eternal Seeker drifted silently through the Orion Spur, its crystalline hull refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. Director Vanna Telexi stood at her observation post, all six eyes focused on the strange readings her sensors had detected from a nearby star system. Her species, the Meridians, had spent millennia peacefully studying the cosmos, cataloging new forms of life, and sharing knowledge across the galaxy. Director, we're detecting artificial structures in orbit around the third planet, reported Navigator Kin, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with excitement. The energy signatures don't match any known spacefaring civilization in our database. Vanna's antennae twitched with curiosity. After centuries of exploration, discovering a new spacefaring species was rare. Bring us closer, but maintain our stealth field. Let's observe before making contact. The Eternal Seeker glided forward, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it virtually invisible to conventional sensors. As they approached, the ship's quantum imaging systems revealed a complex network of orbital stations, defense platforms, and vessels of various sizes. Fascinating, Vanna whispered. They've achieved spaceflight without following the standard progression path. Look at those ship designs. No crystalline matrices, no psychic resonance chambers. How do they even navigate? Her question was answered moments later when their sensors detected a massive surge of electromagnetic energy. Space itself seemed to ripple as a vessel emerged from what appeared to be a crude but effective faster-than-light drive. Director. Science Officer Mare's voice carried an unfamiliar note of alarm. The vessel. It's covered in weapon emplacements. Energy readings suggest enough firepower to... To what? Officer Mare. To destroy a small moon, Director. Vanna's primary heart skipped a beat. In all her centuries of exploration, she'd never encountered a species that built warships of such magnitude. The Meridian Collective had outgrown the need for weapons millennia ago, as had most advanced civilizations they'd encountered. The human vessel's design was unlike anything in their database. Where Meridian ships were organic curves and flowing lines, this craft was angular, purposeful, and bristling with weapon ports. Its hull bore scars and repairs, telling tales of battles fought and survived. They've detected us, Kin announced, his bioluminescence shifting to warning colors. Our stealth field, they're using some kind of quantum resonance scan. Technology we've never seen before. Before Vanna could respond, their communication system activated. A strong, clear voice spoke in perfect galactic standard. Thanks to their universal translators. Unidentified vessel, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force vessel Resolute. You are in restricted space. Drop your cloak immediately, or we will consider your presence an act of aggression. Vanna felt her species' trademark calm beginning to slip. How can they speak galactic standard? They shouldn't even know it exists. Director, Mare's voice shook slightly. I'm detecting multiple smaller craft launching from the Resolute. They're energy signatures. They're weapon platforms of some kind. Open a channel, Vanna ordered, straightening her robes. This is Director Vanna, Telexi of the Meridian research vessel Eternal Seeker. We come in peace, seeking only to study and learn. There was a pause before Captain Chen responded. Director Telexi, your vessel's cloaked approach to a restricted system could be interpreted as hostile reconnaissance. Drop your stealth field and prepare for inspection. Inspection. Vanna's antennae curled in confusion. Captain, we are a Meridian vessel. We represent one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. We don't submit to inspections. Your age and status are irrelevant in human space, Director. You have 30 seconds to comply before we disable your vessel. The threat shocked Vanna to her core. No species had dared threaten a Meridian ship in over 10,000 years. Surely we can discuss this reasonably. We have much knowledge to share. 20 seconds. Director, Mare interrupted. Their targeting systems are unlike anything we've encountered. They're not using standard energy locks. They've developed some kind of predictive targeting algorithm that... 10 seconds. Vanna made her decision. Lower the stealth field. Open all frequencies. She took a deep breath. Captain Chen, we will comply with your inspection. But I must protest this treatment of a peaceful research vessel. The human captain's response was professional but carried an edge of steel. Your protest is noted, Director. However, humanity has learned through hard experience that appearances can be deceiving. Hold position and prepare to be boarded. As the inspection teams approached in their heavily armored shuttles, Vanna couldn't help but wonder what kind of experiences had shaped this species. What had they encountered? Or what had they done to each other that made them so formidable, so paranoid, yet so advanced? She was about to find out that humanity's path to the stars had been very different from anything the Meridians had ever imagined. The human inspection team moved through the Eternal Seeker with methodical precision. Their armored suits made them look like walking tanks to Vanna's eyes, each movement calculated and purposeful. The team leader, Lieutenant Maria Santos, kept one hand near her weapon while scanning every corner with sophisticated sensors built into her helmet. Your ship design is unusual, Santos commented, her voice slightly distorted through her suit's speakers. No internal compartmentalization, no emergency bulkheads, no point defense systems. How do you survive combat? Combat. Vanna's antennae twitched in confusion. The Eternal Seeker is a research vessel. We haven't needed combat capabilities in thousands of years. Santos paused, her helmet's visor becoming transparent to reveal a face that mixed disbelief with concern. No offense, Director, but that seems incredibly naive. The galaxy isn't exactly a safe place. The Meridian Collective has achieved perfect harmony through intellectual and spiritual advancement, Vanna explained proudly. We have no need for weapons. Ma'am, one of Santos' team called out, you need to see these sensor readings. Their power core, it's completely exposed. One hit would chain react through the whole ship. Santos shook her head. Director, your technology is incredible, but your ship is a disaster waiting to happen. Even civilian vessels in human space have basic defensive capabilities. Before Vanna could respond, the ship's communication system activated. Lieutenant Santos returned to the Resolute immediately. Captain Chen's voice carried unmistakable tension. We have multiple contacts approaching at FTL speeds. The human team moved with startling speed, their previous methodical inspection forgotten as they rushed back to their shuttle. Vanna followed them to the docking bay, her scientific curiosity overriding her anxiety. What's happening? She asked. Pirates, Santos replied grimly. The Orion Syndicate. They prey on isolated ships, especially ones with valuable technology, like yours. Vanna's primary heart nearly stopped. Pirates. But the collective eliminated piracy millennia ago. Maybe in your space, Santos said as she boarded her shuttle. But out here, the strong survive by being stronger than those who would prey on them. Through the Eternal Seeker's quantum imaging system, Vanna watched as 5 ships dropped out of FTL. They were ugly, brutal things, cobbled together from stolen technology and decorated with weapons of various origins. Their design philosophy seemed to be quantity over quality. Dozens of weapon emplacements covered their hulls. Attention unknown vessels, Captain Chen's voice broadcast on all frequencies. You are entering restricted space. Withdraw immediately. The pirates' response came in the form of weapons fire, a barrage of energy beams and projectiles that lit up space like a newborn star. Vanna expected to see the Resolute attempt to flee or negotiate. Instead, what happened next changed her understanding of warfare forever. The human warship moved like a predator, its engines firing in patterns that seemed random but allowed it to dodge the majority of incoming fire. What hits it did take were absorbed by layered defensive systems that made the Meridian stealth technology look primitive by comparison. Fascinating, Science Officer Mare whispered, watching the battle unfold. Their ship's design. It's not just about weapons. Look at how they're using gravitational waves to predict projectile paths, how their point defense systems create overlapping fields of protection. The Resolute's counterattack was surgical and devastating. Instead of attempting to disable or capture the pirate vessels, it systematically destroyed their weapon emplacements and engines. Each shot seemed precisely calculated to cause maximum damage with minimum energy expenditure. Director, Mayor called out, his bioluminescence pulsing with excitement. I'm detecting something remarkable. The humans, they're not just fighting. They're gathering data. Each attack is slightly different, testing the pirates' defenses, learning their capabilities. Vanna watched in astonishment as the Resolute executed a maneuver that should have been impossible for a ship its size. It dove between two pirate vessels, using their own crossfire against each other, while its weapons picked apart their defenses. They're not just warriors, she realized. They're scientists. They've turned warfare into a form of research. Within minutes, the battle was over. 4 pirate ships floated dead in space, their crews evacuated to escape pods. The 5th had fled back into FTL, likely to warn others about the cost of attacking human-protected space. Captain Chen's voice came through again, this time directed at the Eternal Seeker. Director Telexi, I trust you understand now why we take security so seriously. Your ship will remain under our protection until we can escort you to the nearest Meridian outpost. As Vanna watched the human crew efficiently process the captured pirates and secure the area, she began to understand. Humanity hadn't developed its military might out of aggression, but out of necessity. They had turned their drive to survive into an art form, combining scientific methodology with martial prowess in ways the Meridians had never imagined. Perhaps, she said to no one in particular, we have as much to learn from them as they do from us. The aftermath of the pirate attack left an uneasy quiet in its wake. The Eternal Seeker's crew watched in fascination as human damage control teams efficiently processed the battlefield debris, their movements suggesting long practice at such tasks. But the peace wouldn't last long. Multiple quantum distortions detected. Mayor's voice carried an edge of panic that Vanna had never heard before. These readings, they're unlike anything in our database. Captain Chen's voice cut through their comm system. We're picking it up too. Director Telexi, are you seeing this? Before Vanna could respond, space itself seemed to tear open. Through the breach emerged a sight that made both human and Meridian crews freeze in horror. The vessel was massive, easily dwarfing both their ships combined, its hull composed of what appeared to be living metal that writhed and shifted like liquid mercury. By the first light, Vanna whispered, the Devourers. They're supposed to be a myth. Care to share with the class, Director? Chen's voice was tense but controlled. They're an ancient species, Captain. Stories tell of them, consuming entire civilizations, breaking down all technology and organic matter to fuel their expansion. But they were supposed to have vanished eons ago. The massive vessel began emitting waves of energy that made both ships' sensors scream in protest. The Resolute's engines flared to life, but the human ship didn't retreat. All hands, battle stations, Chen ordered, her voice broadcasting to both vessels. Director Telexi, your ship's in no condition to fight. Get out of here. We'll hold them off. Vanna felt an unfamiliar emotion. Shame. We can't just leave you. This isn't a debate, Director. Your ship has no defenses, and we're not losing the most significant first contact in human history because you want to be noble. Besides, Chen's voice carried a hint of grim humor. We've been preparing for something like this since we first reached the stars. The Devourer ship launched what appeared to be clouds of metallic particles, where they touched debris from the pirate battle. The metal began to break down and reform into smaller attack craft. Nanite weapons, Mayor reported, his bioluminescence now pulsing with rapid patterns of fear and fascination. They're converting matter into combat units. The Resolute's response was immediate and unexpected. Instead of opening fire with conventional weapons, the human ship released swarms of its own microscopic machines. Anti-nanite countermeasures, Lieutenant Santos explained over the comm. We developed them after discovering von Neumann probes in the Kuiper belt. Never thought we'd need them this soon. Vanna watched in amazement as the human countermeasures engaged the Devourer nanites. Where the two swarms met, tiny flashes of light marked microscopic battles being fought on a massive scale. "Director," Mare called out, "I think I understand their weakness. The Devourer's technology relies on perfect order. Their nanites work in predictable mathematical patterns. But the human countermeasures, they're deliberately chaotic." Chen's voice came through again. "Director, your science officer's onto something. We're reading massive energy fluctuations in their main vessel when their patterns are disrupted. But we don't have enough processing power to analyze and exploit it fully." Vanna's antennae straightened as inspiration struck. "But we do. The Eternal Seeker's quantum computers, they're designed to model complex astronomical phenomena. We could use them to analyze the Devourer's patterns and predict their adaptations." "A joint operation?" Chen sounded intrigued. "Your brains, our brawn." "Yes. Mare, reconfigure our primary research arrays. Captain Chen, if you can keep their attention focused on your ship." "Way ahead of you, Director. Lieutenant Santos, prep boarding teams. If their patterns are their weakness, let's give them some chaos to choke on." What followed was unlike anything in either species' military history. The Resolute engaged in a complex dance with the Devourer vessel, its weapons and countermeasure swarms keeping the enemy's attention while deliberately introducing random variables into each engagement. Meanwhile, the Eternal Seeker's massive quantum computers processed the battle data in real time, identifying pattern weaknesses that the humans could exploit. "Their adaptation algorithms are failing," Mare reported excitedly. "They can't compensate for the randomness fast enough." Through their shared tactical display, Vanna watched human boarding teams breach the Devourer vessel. Unlike the methodical movement she'd witnessed before, now they moved with controlled chaos, never establishing patterns that the enemy could predict and counter. "This is incredible," Santos broadcast from inside the enemy ship. "Their internal structure keeps trying to adapt to our presence, but can't establish stable configurations. We're literally making them malfunction by being unpredictable." The Devourer vessel's surface began to ripple erratically as its nanite-based structure lost coherence. The humans had turned their greatest strength, their inherent unpredictability, into a weapon against an enemy that relied on perfect order. "Director," Chen called out, "we're detecting a massive power surge in their core." "Suggestions?" Vanna's mind raced. "Their quantum matrix is collapsing. If we don't contain it, it'll take both our ships out." Chen finished. "Ideas?" Actually, Vanna felt her antennae curl in what humans would later learn was their equivalent of a smile. "I think it's time we showed you what a Meridian research vessel can really do." The Eternal Seeker's crystalline hull began to pulse with colors no human eye had ever seen. Vanna's crew worked with practiced efficiency, redirecting power from their supposedly peaceful research systems in ways that made Captain Chen's tactical display light up with confusion. "What exactly are you doing, Director?" Chen asked as she watched the Meridian vessel's energy readings spike to unprecedented levels. "Captain, did you wonder why we never developed weapons?" Vanna's voice carried an unusual note of excitement. "It's not because we couldn't. It's because our understanding of energy manipulation made them obsolete." The Eternal Seeker's hull transformed into what appeared to be pure light, its crystalline structure now channeling enough power to rival a small star. The Devourer vessel's surface rippled in response, its nanite structure attempting to adapt to this new phenomenon. "Our containment fields were designed to study black holes," Captain Vanna explained. "We can redirect their collapsing quantum matrix into a controlled singularity. But we need your help." "What do you need?" "Your chaos. Your unpredictability. If your teams can destabilize their internal structure at precisely the right moment." Chen didn't hesitate. "Lieutenant Santos, you hear that?" "Already moving, Captain," Santos responded from inside the Devourer vessel. "Teams are splitting up, creating random disruption patterns. but their internal defenses are adapting faster now. Because they're scared, Mare interjected, his bioluminescence pulsing with revelation. Look at their energy patterns. They're showing signs of actual emotion. Fear is making them evolve. The Devourer vessel's surface began sprouting new formations, organic-looking weapons that targeted both ships with increasing accuracy. The Resolute's point defense systems flared continuously, barely keeping up with the assault. Whatever you're going to do, Chen called out, do it fast. We can't maintain this level of defense much longer. Vanna's antennae straightened with determination. Captain, on my mark, I need your ship to execute the most random, unpredictable maneuver you can think of. Something that defies all tactical logic. You want illogical. Chen's voice carried a hint of amusement. That's humanity's specialty. Santos, prepare for emergency extraction. All hands, brace for Victory Maneuver Omega. Victory Maneuver Omega, Vanna questioned. Named after an ancient human entertainment called video games. Trust me, no logical species would ever expect this. The Eternal Seeker's containment field reached full power just as the Devourer vessel launched its strongest attack yet. At that moment, several things happened simultaneously. The Resolute executed what appeared to be a complete systems failure, its engines cutting out as it tumbled end over end toward the enemy ship. The Devourers, their tactical systems based on predicting logical responses, focused all their attention on this apparent vulnerability. In that split second of distraction, the Eternal Seeker activated its containment field. A sphere of pure energy enveloped the Devourer vessel, trapping its collapsing quantum matrix within a bubble of controlled spacetime. Santos now, Chen ordered. Human boarding teams scattered throughout the Devourer ship activated devices that pulsed with electromagnetic chaos, disrupting the nanite structure at hundreds of points simultaneously. The enemy vessel's surface became a storm of conflicting patterns as its systems tried desperately to adapt. Containment field is holding, Mare reported, his voice tense with concentration. Their quantum matrix is collapsing in on itself. Wait. These readings. The Devourer vessel's surface suddenly stabilized, but not in the way anyone expected. Instead of fighting the chaos, it began to embrace it, its nanite structure flowing into new, unprecedented configurations. They're evolving, Vanna whispered in awe. The combination of our containment field and human chaos isn't destroying them. It's forcing them to transcend their original programming. The massive ship's surface transformed one final time, its liquid metal structure crystallizing into something that resembled a hybrid of Meridian and human technology. Then, slowly, it began to power down. All teams report enemy systems are offline, Santos called out. No signs of resistance. It's like they just went to sleep. As both crews watched in amazement, a new signal emanated from the transformed vessel. It wasn't the mathematical patterns of before, but something more organic, more alive. They were trapped, Mare realized, studying the signal, bound by their original programming to consume and expand. Our intervention forced them to break free of those constraints. So instead of destroying them, Chen mused, we basically gave them an evolutionary kick in the pants. More than that, Vanna replied. We showed them a new way to exist. The Meridians' ordered preservation of knowledge combined with humanity's embrace of chaos created something entirely new. As the dust settled and damage reports came in, both crews began to realize the full implications of what they'd achieved. Two fundamentally different approaches to civilization had not just cooperated but synthesized, creating a solution neither could have conceived alone. Director Telexi, Chen's voice was thoughtful. I believe this is the beginning of a very interesting partnership. 3 months after the Devourer incident, the observation deck of humanity's first contact station hummed with activity. The massive space station, hastily constructed at the border of human and Meridian space, represented something unprecedented in both civilizations' histories. A true collaboration between order and chaos. Vanna Telexi stood beside Captain Chen, watching through the station's quantum-enhanced viewing field as ships from both civilizations maneuvered in joint exercises. Meridian research vessels, their crystalline hulls now reinforced with human-designed defense systems, worked alongside modified human warships equipped with Meridian sensors and computers. Your crews are adapting remarkably well to our technology, Vana observed as a human vessel executed a perfect quantum jump using Meridian calculations. And your scientists are getting surprisingly creative with our combat systems, Chen replied, nodding toward a Meridian ship practicing evasive maneuvers that would have been impossible 3 months ago. Though I'm still getting used to the sight of weapon ports on your vessels. They're not weapons in the traditional sense. Vana's antennae curled in amusement. We prefer to think of them as aggressive research tools. The transformation of the Devourer ship had changed everything. The evolved entity, now calling itself the Synthesis, had shared insights from its millions of years of existence before departing for deep space to contemplate its new form of consciousness. But its greatest gift had been showing both species how much stronger they could be together. Latest reports from the Joint Engineering Team. Lieutenant Santos announced, approaching with a datapad. Her armor now incorporated Meridian crystalline technology, allowing for better sensor integration. The hybrid drive systems are exceeding all expectations. Meridian precision combined with human intuitive controls. It's revolutionary. Speaking of revolution, Chen turned to Vana. How's the collective handling all these changes? Vana's bioluminescent patches pulsed with what humans had learned to recognize as wry amusement. About as well as your military-industrial complex is handling the idea of incorporating peace research into warship design. Changes, challenging, but necessary, Chen finished. The galaxy's bigger than either of us imagined. We need each other. Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. A holographic display materialized, showing a massive energy distortion at the edge of known space. Pattern matches Devourer quantum signatures, Santos reported, her enhanced armor already processing the data. But it's different, more organized, yet more chaotic at the same time. The synthesis, Vana questioned, her scientific curiosity evident. No, Mare's voice came through the comm. The science officer had been overseeing the joint research project nearby. These signatures suggest something older and hungrier. Chen and Vana shared a look. 3 months ago, such a threat would have sent the Meridians fleeing to safety while humans prepared for war. Now, alert the joint fleet, Chen ordered. All ships to assume defensive formation Delta 7. Activate the quantum research arrays, Vana added. Full spectrum analysis. Throughout the station, human and Meridian crews moved with practiced efficiency. Where once there had been confusion over different protocols and philosophies, now there was smooth integration. Warrior and researcher, chaos and order, working as one. You know, Chen mused as they watched their combined fleet move into position. My ancestors used to tell stories about humanity's first steps into space. They always imagined we'd either find enemies to fight or friends to greet. And instead you found us. Vana's antennae twitched with humor. Neither enemy nor traditional friend, but something your stories never considered. Partners, Chen nodded. Different enough to challenge each other, similar enough to work together. The unknown entity emerged from its quantum distortion, massive and threatening. But this time, neither humanity nor the Meridians faced it alone. Their combined fleet moved as one, each ship complementing the other's strengths and covering their weaknesses. To think, Vana reflected as they prepared to face this new challenge. All of this started because we tried to sneak a peek at your solar system. And we responded by threatening to shoot you, Chen laughed. Not our finest diplomatic moment. On the contrary, Vana's voice carried warm wisdom. It was perfectly human. You showed us exactly who and what you were. Protectors, survivors, warriors. And in doing so, you helped us remember something our civilization had forgotten. Oh, that peace isn't just the absence of conflict. Sometimes it must be guarded, studied, and occasionally fought for. As their combined fleet engaged the new threat, the station's quantum sensors captured an image that would soon become famous throughout both civilizations. Human and Meridian ships moving in perfect formation, their different designs and philosophies creating something greater than either could achieve alone. It was more than just an alliance. It was evolution, adaptation, and growth. It was humanity's chaos teaching order how to dance, and Meridian wisdom showing chaos how to flow with purpose. Together, they were writing a new chapter in the story of the galaxy, proving that the greatest strengths often come not from changing who you are, but from finding those whose differences complete you. The bridge between stars had become a bridge between ways of thinking, and the galaxy would never be the same.